Good morning, friends. It's Miss Lauren. We are going to read a little story from our Tiny Treats Bible this morning. And today is one we probably all heard, but it's one of my favorites. It's Daniel and the Lions. God's people were far from home in a kingdom called Babylon, but God had forgotten about them. He hadn't left them. And even though the people of Babylon didn't know God, they knew there was something different about God's people. In fact, King Darius, the king over Babylon, had noticed someone very special in God's tribe. His name was Daniel. Daniel knew God and he loved him. God had made Daniel very clever and very wise. The king saw this and wanted to put Daniel in charge of the whole kingdom. It was a very important job. Daniel was good at his work and the king liked him. This made some of the king's men very jealous. How can we get rid of Daniel? They wondered. How can we get him in trouble with the king? It wasn't easy because Daniel was a good man who worked hard. He was faithful in all things and he gave thanks to God 3 times every day. The men began to plot. When the men saw that Daniel prayed to God 3 times a day, they had an idea. They would trick the king and get rid of Daniel forever. The men went straight to King Darius. "We need a new law," they told him. "Because you are such a wise and wonderful king, everyone must pray to you and to no one else. If anyone disobeys, you must throw them into the lion's den." The king liked this law. He didn't know they were tricking him, so he said yes. It wasn't long before Daniel heard about the new law, but it didn't stop him. He trusted God, so he kept praying to him. When the king's men saw that Daniel asking God for help, they rushed off to tell the king. "Daniel's praying to his God," they said. "You must throw him to the lions because he's breaking your new law." King Darius realized he had been tricked and his heart was sad. He liked Daniel and he didn't want him to be hurt, but there was nothing he could do. Even he couldn't change the law. The king's men took Daniel and dropped him into the den full of lions. "I hope that your God, who you love, will rescue you," said the king. So Daniel was left alone with the lions and the king went home. But the king was so worried about his friend that he didn't sleep at all. The minute the sun came up, he rushed to the lion's den. "Daniel," he shouted, "has your God rescued you from the lions?" The king heard a voice. "God has kept me safe," shouted Daniel. He sent an angel to keep the lion's mouth shut all night. The king was overjoyed. "Quickly, get Daniel out of the lion's den," he ordered. After a whole night surrounded by fierce and rather hungry lions, there wasn't a single scratch on Daniel. Daniel had trusted God, and God had kept him safe. As for the men who had tricked the king, well, they were in big trouble. Because of what God had done, King Darius made a new law. Everyone in my kingdom must pray only to Daniel's God. He is the true, living God who lives forever. His kingdom will last forever. He is a rescuing God who looks after his people, and he has saved Daniel from the lions. Well, friends, I hope y'all enjoyed this story as much as I did, but I hope you guys have a great week and know that I'm praying for each of you, and I hope you stay healthy and happy during this time period. I'm so proud of all of you because I know it's so different and it can sometimes be hard, but know that God is always with you. I love you all. Have a great week. Bye.